After an exhilarating comeback, the Stanley Cup playoffs have come to an end, with a pair of players spiking up majorly. Several baseball players continue to rise, and the hottest player in basketball in 2024 is back again. I'll give you all the updates in today's Top 5 Cards. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Top 5 Cards Going Up. My name is Tyler Northcott, better known as Tpot, and I'm holding down the fort while Jeff and his family are out seeking the world's finest crumpets and croissants. We've got some players who are seeing major price bumps, and as always, this video is brought to you by Whatnot. Whatnot has awesome live auctions every day and night, starting at just $1 for packs, boxes, breaks, singles, and more. It's a lot of fun, and if you scan the QR code on your screen or use the special link in our show description below, you'll get $15 in free credit when you sign up for Whatnot. Now let's take a look at the overall sports card market with Market Pulse by Market Movers. Over the last 7 days, the SCI 500 index of the 500 most prominent sports cards is up 0.1%. Over the last 30 days, the SCI 500 is flat with no change, and since January 1 of 2024, it is up 1.9%. The best performing category of cards over the last 30 days is football from 2000 to 2009, which is up 8.8%. We're seeing some buzz around the fantasy grades from that era. And the worst performing category is baseball from 1940 to 1959, which is down 13.4%. I expect to see that change somewhat with Willie Mays passing. Now, as a reminder, the cards you'll see in today's show have gone up in price recently, but are not necessarily good investments right now. Always do your own research to decide which cards you think will go up in value next. All right, as always, before we get into the hot cards this week, we've got to start out with a cold card. And this one stings. This week's cold player is Luka Doncic, the guard for the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks fell to the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals this year. Luka became the first player in NBA history to lead the playoffs in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. Similar to an athlete from another sport who we're going to talk about shortly, he averaged an impressive 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists in the finals, but that wasn't good enough to carry the Mavericks to their second NBA championship in franchise history. He was very clearly the best player in the finals. Jaylen Brown took home the MVP because the Celtics won, but Luka himself was even limited by injuries in the finals. He suffered a chest bruise in Game 1 and a right knee sprain and left ankle soreness throughout the finals. He displayed his dedication and toughness, but the Celtics were just a deeper team. And it didn't help that Kyrie Irving only had one big game in the series, while many of the Mavs' other role players also shot the ball poorly. Now, Luka says he plans to play in the Olympic qualifiers for Slovenia pending a right knee evaluation, and all of his cards, as tracked by Market Movers, are down 10.7% collectively over the last 30 days. So let's take a look at some of those cards, and I've got the 90-day view here. We've got his Prism base card in PSA 10. You all know this shot, the step away, the fade away. That's a great rookie image. We've got his Hoops base card here in PSA 10 condition. We're also looking at his Prism Silver in PSA 10 condition. And then finally, we've got his Optic base card from 2018, card number 177, also in PSA 10. And over the last 90 days, you see things were kind of hovering flat. There was actually a decrease in his card prices, and then Luka went on this big run. So as Anthony Edwards was coming down, Luka was going up. They beat the Timberwolves. They made it to the finals. He was a huge part of it. He had that insane shot over Rudy Gobert to seal that game over the Wolves. And over the last 30 days, not so great. Not so great at all. Down 25% on his Prism base PSA 10, down 13% on his Hoops, down 38% on his Prism Silver. This is a card that jumped back up to almost $2,000 or over $2,000 and is now back down to $1,000. And then his Optic base PSA 10, $140. So in my opinion, Luka's a guy, we know he's going to be here to stay. He's going to be competing years to come. There's a lot of players who want to go play with him and compete for a championship. It was unfortunate for me. I was rooting for Luka that they didn't win. I know you Celtics fans and Tatum and Brown lovers will disagree with that, but Luka is our cold card this week. All right, now as we like to do, we're going to shift gears to our investment card. These are the cards that are a little bit more established, have a little bit more of a track record, players who maybe have retired, or in this case, unfortunately, even have passed away. And that is, of course, the Say Hey kid, Willie Mays, who passed away this past week at age 93, the center fielder for the Giants. And Mays, what can you say about him? He started off his professional career with the Negro Leagues with the Birmingham Black Barons in 1948. In 1951, he joined the New York Giants, the then New York Giants, in which his playing time was interrupted as he spent 2 years in military service. He returned in 1954, and he exploded, winning NL MVP with a .345 batting average, 41 home runs, and 110 RBIs. Throughout his career, Mays was a 24-time All-Star. That's unbelievable. A remarkable feat showcasing his consistent excellence on the diamond. Mays was the original five-tool player, excelling in all aspects of the game. He compiled a whopping 660 career home runs, a .302 career batting average, 338 stolen bases, and he won 12 Gold Gloves in center field. He is considered one of the greatest baseball players of all time, if not the greatest, and he was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1979, the first year of his eligibility. Now, his 1951 Bowman set at the time was considered a large set, consisting of 324 cards, which now, when you compare that to modern checklists, is a bit of a drop in the bucket. So the first thing I'm actually looking at here is gemrate.com. It's their universal pop count data to show you that there have been 3,321 total copies of this 1951 Bowman graded. That's actually higher than I would have guessed. If you just said, how many of these have been graded? I might have said somewhere like 1,800 to 2,300. No, almost over 3,300 copies of this graded. You can see 8 PSA 9s, 1 SGC 9, none higher than that. Those cards obviously command incredibly high premiums, and they will certainly command an even higher premium going forward. Many people consider Mays to be the most undervalued all-time great, especially when you compare his card prices to Mickey Mantle. So let that debate rage now and going forward. Let's jump over and look at a few of these 1951 Bowman cards. And what I've got is his PSA 3, his PSA 4, SGC 3, and SGC 2. And let's just actually, let's take a moment to look at this card. It's a great image. 1951 is a fantastic set. It kind of gets lost compared to 1952 Topps, but this is an absolutely beautiful set. Make no mistake about it. Why did I pull up these cards? Because the PSA 4 sold on May 12th for $6,900. A pretty good price for, you know, obviously a lower condition card. But these other copies have actually sold more recently. So you can see on June 18, a PSA 3 sold for $5,400. But then on June 19, we've got a sale on the SGC 3 here of $7,480. So it already jumped up, the SGC 3, above the PSA 4. You've got an SGC 2 that sold a day later for an impressive $6,260. So kind of creeping up on that PSA 4 value. So Mays cards, they've been very hot. There's obviously not a ton of them, but Mays is one of the all-time greats. He's definitely investment worthy long-term. His card prices aren't going anywhere as long as people are investing in sports cards, and he is our investment card of the week. All right, now it's time for us to actually jump into this week's Hot 5 cards going up, and we're starting out at number 5 with Stuart Skinner and Connor McDavid, the goalie and center for the Edmonton Oilers, after a thrilling comeback, starting out 0-3, down in an 0-3 hole, from which a team has never come back in the Stanley Cup Finals. To push to a Game 7, the Oilers came up just short in Game 7 as the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup. It was an incredibly close game and a sequence that almost gave Edmonton the 2-1 lead. I can't remember who it was, but one of the Panthers kind of hit the puck away in a gap that could have escaped into the goal, led to a counterattack by Florida and a defensive blunder by the Oilers, giving the Panthers the game-winning goal. Now, in spite of the Oilers losing, Connor McDavid did take home the Conn Smythe Trophy, as his 42 points in the playoffs were the 4th most all-time. What else can we say about McDavid except that he is Wayne Gretzky reincarnated in our modern era? And much of the comeback could also be attributed for the Oilers to the stellar play from their goalie Stuart Skinner in the final 4 games. Skinner has earned a lot of criticism over his career for inconsistency in front of the net, but he turned it on when it mattered, when they had their backs against the wall in the Stanley Cup Finals. In the first 3 games of the finals, Skinner had a save percentage of just 86.7%. In the final 4 games, he had an impressive 93% save percentage, and that led to that comeback in many ways. Now, let's take a look at some of their cards and jump over. We're going to start out with McDavid. Just got his PSA 10 Young Guns. I'm looking at the last 30 days, and this card is up 47.3% over that time frame. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens to his card prices. They didn't win, but he was so dominant that personally I would be surprised to see a big come down on these cards. The Oilers, it's so hard to get back every year to the finals. You hope to see it. I think everybody who's a fan of hockey wants to see McDavid win a championship, unless you don't like the Oilers. I'm kind of indifferent to the Oilers. I'm a Red Wings fan. I wouldn't mind seeing them make another run, and it would be really exciting to see him take one down just to solidify his place as an all-time great. Let's jump over and look at Skinner. I've got his Young Guns base here in a PSA 10 and PSA 9. Both of these cards also up 52.6% and 99.5% respectively over the last 30 days. The Oilers gave it their best. They came up just short. When you see that dejection on athletes' faces in a Game 7 loss that is that close, the empath in me, it hurts. Hope to see him get back and see McDavid win one. There are number 5 cards going up this week. All right, our number 4 card going up this week is Miguel Vargas, the left fielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have experienced a new wave of injuries, losing Yamamoto and Mookie Betts for the foreseeable future. Now, luckily, as the Dodgers have a history of doing, they have strong depth to fall back on, allowing them to stay ahead of the curve and in the lead in that division. And one player that has contributed to that depth has been Miguel Vargas. Now, he's been in and out of the lineup this season and has spent time between the majors and AAA after a disappointing 2023 season with the Dodgers. He's played in 11 games so far this year, and he's batting .321 with an OPS of .946. This is a dramatic improvement from his .195 batting average in 2023 with the club. Now, Vargas will likely continue to play a larger role in the lineup while Mookie is recovering, allowing him to further showcase whether or not he can become a mainstay on their major league roster. All of Vargas's cards, as tracked by market movers, are up 17% collectively over the last 30 days. We've got a little sample of his cards here, starting out with this 2020 Bowman Chrome Prospect Auto Refractor. This is raw. Sometimes with these players who are a little more obscure, Vargas has had some buzz around him. It makes sense to look at the raw cards versus the PSA 10s, but we do have his base auto here in PSA 10 that we can look at, Pop 183, as well as this green refractor in 99, numbered to 99 from Topps Chrome. This is a rookie card. And all of these cards over the last 30 days up 291%, 32%, 439%. These are the types of players who they sort of fall into obsolescence. People tuck them away in their boxes. They're not, selling for particularly high amounts. You can see even the PSA 10 auto, just $41. So this card, it's not like it was, transacting at a super high price. It was down around $31. It's seen a run up. Sometimes it does make sense to tuck these away and wait for these guys to get one last shot. On the flip side, you can always think about that sunk cost fallacy. Sell them off, once you think the trajectory is not there, and move them into other players if that's your game. Or if you just like to collect and you're a Dodgers fan, hopefully you had a few of these in your boxes. Miguel Vargas is our number 4 hot card of this week. All right, at number 3 this week, she's back, and it is Caitlin Clark, the guard for the Indiana Fever. The Fever started out 2-8 on the season, and they've turned it around, and they've won 4 of their last 5 games. Now, Clark has positioned herself potentially with the Fever to make the playoffs for the first time since 2016. They've still got more work to do. They're heading in the right direction. Now, she obviously had an incredible career, a record-breaking career for the Iowa Hawkeyes in college, and she's just been one of the hottest players in basketball on planet Earth. Regardless of men, women, Caitlin Clark has had a ton of buzz. Now, although she has had some slumps throughout this young season, it seems that Aaliyah Boston and her have developed some chemistry that everybody hoped they might have in the WNBA. This has the Fever and the WNBA fans excited about the future of women's basketball. There was, some people think she was slighted by not making the women's Olympic roster. She's got to kind of get the turnovers down, but that is a bit misleading. I looked into this a little bit more. I think she's averaging like 7 or 8 turnovers a game, like 3 more than anybody else in the WNBA. A lot of them aren't her fault. She's making these incredible passes that not many people, if anybody else in the WNBA, are making, and then her teammates are just dropping the ball. And I guess they're registering them as turnovers on Caitlin Clark in many instances, not her teammates. The stat keepers might want to look into that a little bit more closely. So let's take a look a little bit more closely at a few of her cards. I've got her Bowman's Best Refractor in raw condition. Obviously a collegiate card here. We're waiting for the WNBA cards to come out for her. We've got her 2023 Bowman Chrome University Refractor in raw condition. And then we've got her 2022 Bowman Chrome University. This is her Bowman First Refractor in raw condition. All of these cards trending up nicely over the last 30 days, up 71%, 87%, and 134%. You can get in on some Caitlin Clark refractor action for $25 to $82 right now. Do you think that she's a good buy at this moment? Would you take a chance and try to grade some of these? Or would you wait until some of those WNBA cards hit the market? Let me know down in the comments. Caitlin Clark is our number 3 card this week. All right, coming in at number 2 this week, it is Steven Kwan, the left fielder for the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians lead the AL Central by 7.5 games. They've taken a commanding lead over my Detroit Tigers, who are in 4th now in that division. And this has a lot to do with the special play from their left fielder at the plate so far this season. Although Kwan does not currently qualify yet, he will in a few more games for the batting title due to an early hamstring injury in May. He might be on the verge of something historic. His current batting average is .390, which is 79 points ahead of AL qualified leader Bobby Witt. The former 5th-round pick has a chance to become the first Cleveland player to win the batting title since 1982, and he has a chance to end the season with a .400 average. It's going to be tough. Still a lot of season ahead of Kwan, but it hasn't been done in over 80 years since Ted Williams completed that pursuit. Now, all of Kwan's cards, as tracked by market movers, are up 39.8% collectively over the last 30 days. And we're going to take a look, as always, at a little sampling here. We've got his Sapphire Chrome base 2022 rookie card in PSA 10. That's a pop 43. Last sale on that card is $75. We've got his gold out of Topps flagship, Topps update, numbered obviously to the year, numbered to 2022. That's pop 37. We've got his rainbow foil PSA 10, pop 51. Pretty low on that. Sometimes those can be tough grades. But a lot of people not necessarily grading Kwan historically. If he hits for 400, maybe they'll reconsider. And his 2022 Bowman's Best of 2022 autographs. Nice on-card auto here out of Bowman's Best. All of these cards over the last 30 days trending up 127%, 165%, 173%, and 67% respectively. Kwan's a great defender in the outfield, and he can obviously put the bat to the ball. Will he hit for 400? I'd also love to hear your feedback down below. Steven Kwan is our number 2 card this week. All right, that brings us to our number 1 hot card this week. And as always, all of this data, all of these charts and graphs brought to you by Market Movers. You can head over to the App Store on Apple or Android and download Market Movers. We've got 3.4 million cards in our database that we're tracking. We've got price movements on all of them, charts and graphs. You can track them in your collection. You can track any card in your collection and get price comps. You've got to download Market Movers now, and you can get a 7-day free trial when you download it on the App Store. And without further ado, our number 1 hot card this week. We're staying in the AL Central this time with the hottest team in that division, and it's Royce Lewis, arguably the hottest player in baseball, the 3rd baseman for the Minnesota Twins. Now, almost halfway through the baseball season, the Twins have found themselves, like I said, in 2nd place in the AL Central, and they are surging. Recently, they gained back their number 1 overall pick from the 2017 MLB draft, and he is trying to help push them toward the playoffs. Now, Lewis, he hit a home run in Game 1 on opening day, and then he suffered a quad strain and missed over 2 months. And this has unfortunately been a track record for Royce Lewis. He returned to the lineup at the beginning of June and has been putting up video game type of stats. He has 10 home runs in 17 games so far this season, and 27 home runs in 88 career games in his career so far. He has a 1.4 WAR already, which would be on pace for over 13 for the season for a 162-game season. His career OPS plus, that's kind of their OPS in relation to the league average, is 170, which is insane. He just needs to stay healthy. All of his cards tracked by Market Movers are up 15.5% collectively over the last 30 days, but some cards in particular are surging big time, and we're going to look at those. So we've got his 2017 Bowman Draft first. This is his Chrome Prospect card first. This is pop 1252. That card sold for $55 most recently, which is a big increase after the injury. We've got his Chrome Rookie Auto from 2022, on-card Chrome Rookie Auto, nice leg kick. And then we've got his Bowman Draft Chrome Refractor first in raw condition. These 3 cards up 255%, 115%, and 881% respectively. You can see that on some of these lower dollar cards, but Royce Lewis has been incredibly hot. What is it about the Twins? First with Byron Buxton, who looks like one of the best players in baseball when he played, historically at least, and he can't stay healthy. Then they get Royce Lewis, who also looks like one of the best players in baseball, very much worthy of the 1st overall pick, except that he also hasn't been able to play. So the Twins, if they're going to make a deep playoff run, they're definitely going to need Lewis to stay on the field and keep playing. And my fantasy team is going to need Lewis to stay on the field as well. Royce Lewis this week is our number 1 hot card going up. All right, that does it for this week's top 5 hottest cards. Thanks so much for stopping by. Make sure to go check out Whatnot and click that link down in the show description to get $15 free on Whatnot when you sign up. Make sure to download Market Movers, and until next time, happy investing, keep on collecting, and make sure to have fun.